We're about to enter the Wilson Tunnel. These your people.
Gang, gang.
That's the tunnel.
Hey, what's the gang? That's my cousin on my daddy's side.
It's beautiful, right?
About to see making some flowers. Now we gotta put on our Black Lives Matter hat and be like, fight the power, which is cool, but like, that's not what I was betting on today. What I'm gonna do is need to be done.
Okay.
Because mama ain't raising the pump.
Period.
But I was just hoping for a lot land.
And now I see why they are offering group therapy afterwards.
Points were made.
Okay. Well, and so it begins. All right, so let's close this vlog out. I want to keep this vlog to be only about the museum exhibit. I feel like it should take up space. It should take up a lot of space. So first things first, I had the plan in mind from like a logistics standpoint. There's another Black focused exhibit that I wanted to see, and it's at the Holocaust Museum. Shout out to my homegirl Haley, because she's the one who told me about it. That one is like free from 2 to 5. So my plan after supervision, which was done at 2, was to be ready, which is why I did my makeup before supervision. But then I ended up having a lot of stuff to do after supervision. So I really didn't head that way until like 4:30. Completely defeats the purpose of trying to pull up in the Holocaust Museum for the 2 to 5 exhibit. So no big deal. I'm not really in a rush. The other exhibit is going to be there for a while. So like, no harm, no foul. I'll go again. The exhibit was at the Museum of Fine Art. I just feel like the lights in here got brighter. That's weird as hell. The exhibit was at the Museum of Fine Arts, the Kehinde Wiley exhibit. I'm not familiar with his work, so I would have not ever have thought to know that there was going to be a positioning related to social justice. I just wasn't prepared for that. Like, I'm sure there was going to be a representation about our plight, but there were some surprise elements that really took me for a loop. One of them being right when you walk in, try to insert a clip, you see this kind of ode to doing this work in light of summer 2020. And summer 2020, I, like many others living through this pandemic, but I saw it at a molecular level from working in public health. And the type of public health I was doing was on the health equity side, health equity and COVID. Immediately I can tell you that Black and brown people are more likely to die from this virus than anybody else. But when you really get down to the ways in which healthcare healthcare at large is not fair, and we have these health disparities as a result of racism, it just stings in a different way. And it's hard to feel triumphant in spite of the circumstances that we're working against. And so I found myself struggling to enjoy my work in public health, and just felt like doing this system level, system change work, hosting a racial justice community with having to pander to white fragility, because even though my company at the time alleged that they were for the people, their actions, their budgets, and in public health or in nonprofits we say, show me your budget and I show you what your priorities are. And you can see down in the budget that things were not what they seemed. And then I personally became traumatized through, for lack of a better word, what I was experiencing. Being maligned and being overlooked for promotions when I'm working hard and my peers are like, you're the best project manager, but they're getting promotions and then they're hiring and expanding the team, but for some reason the salary, it makes sense for the salary to go up 10,000, 5 more thousand. Come to find out, all the project managers get together, there's a disparity of $30,000, and the disparity is between me at the lowest and a white woman on the team at the time at the highest. That she was new to the team, evidently she negotiated like hell, and she was recruited from another organization, so I can imagine she was able to like leverage that. Meanwhile, I was like a recruit from Indeed or like, you know, whatever job posting site they found me on. But regardless of what, being an experience where the work that I'm doing is supposed to embody well-being and equity, but my well-being is not being supported at work, and there's no equity in this job because no reason why I have a master, my colleague has a master's, we both have master's degree in public health, but there are large variances in what the white woman is making versus the black woman, and we have this about the same amount of experience too. Even down to like, never gonna say that I was the best thing smoked, because I'm just not. I don't embody that. I'm always growing, evolving. I'm a sponge. I want to keep what I'm supposed to keep and let whatever else stay behind. And even down to like maligning me in a way to make it seem like I was the problem child during review season, because I wanted this review to be a focus of an equity adjustment according to what we were paying our project managers now. Like, I need to be brought up equitably, and they just pretty much positioned it in a way to make it seem like, yo, you should be grateful to be here and trying to find a new job, but having a hard time finding a new job because you're finding a new job as a result of being burnt out. Like, this job also had me on FMLA. And I went on FMLA because there was a point in time where I was managing the racial justice community, and my jaw would lock around the time of the community meeting, and when I would have to come off mute, it would be so hard to open my mouth. Heart racing, hand shaking. Like, it got progressively worse. It started with my jaw. And I thought, and I knew that I was stressed, and I knew that I was unhappy, and I knew that I was looking for new work. But it's so hard to find new work while you're being traumatized by the work that you're doing, and you can't yet tell if it's the place or if it's the subject. The place, or is it the role? And so also they did a great job, like I said, of maligning me in a way that made me feel like, okay, if I should be grateful to be here, then I also should not have the confidence to go and find another employer because I'm not even doing okay here. And I truly think that was an intentional tactic. I really sincerely truly do, because in my shortcomings, again, admitting that I had shortcomings from time to time, and my shortcomings, I was never coached and guided to be in a different way. Not until the review came up, not until the PIP came up, not until they needed to make sure that they had substantial proof just in case I wanted to sue for discrimination. By the time I left, I knew that I was leaving a sinking ship that was lying about what they were actually doing. So they weren't even doing the work for real, but they was mad at me because I didn't understand how we were doing the work because I didn't see the work happen. I remember trying to have a lot of sympathy for my supervisor and how she was thinking, because in our time where shit was decent, I knew that she was getting a divorce, and she referred to her then husband as a narcissist. And so if that's the case, then you have been in a cycle of abuse, for lack of a better word. And sometimes traumatized people can embody the traumatized things that they've done because they think that it's normal. So I remember trying to find compassion for how she was behaving, because there's no way you sincerely was moving like that as if it's okay. Regardless of what, I left one sinking ship to a little life raft. So not a yacht, not like I made made it to glory and everything's okay now. Just something that was not, I did not see the Titanic of it all. A little piece of a wreck, okay? Ended up losing that job because I know that Spirit was not fully supportive of me taking it, but I thought that Spirit was telling me to not get complacent like I did last time. And when I had got the job that I ended up leaving as a result of trauma, I stopped interviewing. And I was just like, no, this is good enough for me. Like, perfect. Won't do that again. And being in HR and DEI chats, one thing I learned from those people is that they have this saying, always be applying. And that is so true. So I thought that was the lesson. Honestly, I knew it was not up forever, and I planned to like get situated, pay down some debt, and then continue to look for more experience, network with the new people, especially because I was coming on to a Black-owned agency. So I was hopeful that in the event that we do a lot of collaborations, partners, that I can build up a new network of colleagues. The network of colleagues that I had built, I started to see them all as fraudulent. But of course, Spirit saw to it that it was time for me to be let go within 90 days. There would have never been enough money saved for me to take the lead. I have a good friend, Ashley. Thank you for being a big sister in my life if you see this, because she talks a lot about how she got to a point where she started building a fuck you fund. Like, she knew it was coming, but she needed to prepare. And that's what I was planning to build. Like, I was planning to build a more significant fuck you fund because the little fund I had did not give me enough leg to stand on. And before, I had like close to $25K in savings. I blew through most of it because I took FMLA, but I didn't pay into short-term disability, so I was not being paid. So I supported myself for several months, no income, and lots of doctor's appointments, lots of therapy appointments to just kind of sustain while being burnt out and like just trying to get back to a functional space, because by the time I took medical leave, I was no longer functional. Absolutely not. Like I said, there would have never been enough money for me to leave and feel comfortable in that choice. So I think Spirit really has pushed me. I am moved to the thought of knowing that in my 15 years, wait a minute, in my 15 months of being unemployed, I have not missed a bill or a meal. My rent ain't been late. My car ain't been taken. I'm so thankful to the past version of myself that looked out, even if we were operating out of scarcity. Like, housing security is not something that I always felt like I had as a child. My own room, my own space. Like, look, not to trauma dump, especially after having an interesting group therapy session. I am in a space of gratitude when I think about how I'm still standing, even though I'm in some questionable circumstances. I'm still standing despite trying to figure out truly, God, tell me, Spirit, tell me, Source, tell me, ancestors, tell me. The it's all from my academic. Tell me, what do we need to do?
Help me, help me, help me.
The answer is becoming more and more clear. Shout out to human design because it's enabling me to understand God more. That is one thing that I want to highlight, especially because in light of group therapy is the opportunity to learn from lots of different people. And one of the things that came up in our session today, and I wrote it down because it was something that just really ignited something in me. But the therapist was essentially referring to the fact that we can control two things: how we prepare and how we respond. Even though I didn't necessarily appreciate the like resiliency language and trope, the strong Black woman trope, lean into the strength our ancestors had it work trope of it all, I believe in intergenerational trauma. I believe in the fact that from one generation to another generation to another, though the circumstances might have been harsher, I'm still carrying the experiences of the people before me. Although it might not be one-to-one with what was harder, that still doesn't mean that the weight hasn't compounded. And it's an act of choice to put it down. It's an act of choice to rise above. And sometimes my knees are weak. Sometimes I need a break. Sometimes we don't have the opportunity to respond in the same way as others because we literally can't. Like, for example, oh, I'm unemployed, but you can walk. So make sure that you do whatever kind of manual physical labor job because you have the ability to walk. There are some people that can't walk. And I'm always constantly looking at something from an equity lens because it's important. It helps you understand why, in spite of alleged circumstances that other people have been able to thrive under, why can't you? And it enables me to be curious about how it's just not that simple and what is in that gray. But regardless of what, the exhibit was absolutely beautiful. It beautifully portrayed our plight as Black people. If you look online, like, what you expect to see is like people and flowers, but what really made the exhibit like unique and special was the like audio guidance and the perspective offered. And one of the things that really ignited me in the exhibit is that the people who work in social justice, they're moved by the cause. They want things to be different for their people, for who they're trying to serve. But a lot of times, many of us end up being traumatized in the process. So loud, so true, so real, so igniting, so activating, so relatable, because I feel like that's exactly what happened for me. And I really sat to myself like, yo, I love the cause. I don't like the journey. I don't like how we're getting there. I don't like the role that I'm playing in supporting. And one thing I learned about myself early on is that I'm not good on the front line. I can't be in the front of the march. I can't be here with the microphone leading the rally. That's not where my skill sets are best used. When I see police, I almost instinctually stop breathing because a cop has pulled a gun on me before. And being guided to really hear additional perspective for those that curated the exhibit was absolutely fascinating. It was absolutely everything. The follow-up group session, I have my critiques on how there were opportunities for improvement, but overall, the purpose was served. And I'm very, very hopeful that the people that needed to hear the messages that were shared got what they needed. And I'm just personally just in a place of gratitude, knowing that even though it wasn't my cup of tea and it wasn't my approach, and not even my approach in the sense of like how I would do therapy or group therapy, my approach of like what resonates with me and like what my therapist has to do with me, even though there wasn't synergy there, the purpose was served and there were gems. And I won't let the side steps deter the impact of the project. Thank you to the Black Women Project for allowing us to not only see the exhibit for free, pay for parking, and host space for us to come together. It was an exceptional opportunity. And hopefully I can contribute to the Black Women Project. I'm here for it all. Like, even as a nonprofit owner, I kind of find myself in the woes of not really knowing what direction should Thrive by Us go, because grant writing has not been successful. Even though I'm a manifesting generator and I have several many interests, several interests. I'm just tired at this point. Even though that's true, I am in a space where I'm deciding to narrow down niche, whatever have you. And I just want my brain space to be in makeup, magic, and mental health. It feels so clear to me that that is where things need to go. That's where we're going to take it. I really want to take creating more seriously. I thoroughly enjoy it. Truth be told, shout out to the creators before me, but I feel like there's still space for me. And I appreciate the space in which they exist and how they show up, because that's what they need to do for themselves. I still feel like there are gaps in the literature, if you will. Shout out to my academics. Are gaps in representation, experiences, perspectives, kind of, hey, you can go to Key because she thinks in this way. A lot of her messaging or her content is going to be rooted in these something values, or these something principles or pillars or whatever. And not even from a content perspective, like content pillars, but like principles. I have not yet found a creator that embodies what I'm looking for. I feel like if I had that creator, then I wouldn't still feel called to create, because I could just consume their work and be satisfied. There are a lot of creators that I love, but I'm still feeling the call to join the space, because there's still room for me. There's still a unique perspective that I can add, and it's not an overcrowded space. I'm looking forward to showing up for myself more, meeting God halfway, changing my life, because I refuse for this to be the rest of my forever. Absolutely not. And it won't be. And it ain't gonna be. And it might just be a season, but we gonna get to the other side. One video at a time. So if you've made it this far, shout out to you. Thank you for being here. Those are my reflections after the Kehinde Wiley exhibit. But regardless of what we're creating, I need to do like the computer and let the balloons go up. Good night, everybody. Take care of yourself. Get some rest.